So you're thinking about going to law school, but you're not sure what major you should take. Well, luckily the answer to that dilemma is much simpler than you think. Take any major. Okay, obviously it's not quite that simple, but it is simpler than you think. My name is Jay, and today I'm going to go over a few things you should probably consider when you're choosing your undergrad major to get into law school. Unlike students that want to get into medical school, physical therapy school, nursing school, you name it, we don't really have a specific major requirement to get into law school. In fact, you can get into law school with almost any major. So then the question that arises is one major better than another? Well, there are a few things you gotta consider here. The main thing is, what are your goals? Are you trying to get into Stanford, Harvard, Yale, any school like that? Well, then your major selection might matter a little bit. This is because Ivy League schools are just much more selective and the pool of applicants are much more competitive. So even the most minuscule advantages will be beneficial for you. So just a quick example, if there's one student that majored in science and got a 4.0 GPA, and there was another student that majored in poli-sci and got a 4.0 GPA, well, the Ivy League school is going to give it to the guy with the science degree, and that's just because the science degree is much more difficult. Little things like that do matter when it's so competitive. So in my opinion, some of the more quote-unquote hard majors would be all the STEM majors, computer science, economics, some of the business degrees. Obviously, if you are legitimately interested in those majors, instead of just using it to catapult yourself into a better standing in law school, that would be more beneficial because if law school doesn't pan out, you don't end up going, you do have a fallback option. But what if Ivy League school is not in your future? And statistically, that is more likely. I'm definitely not top 14 or bust. I'm not even top 30 or bust. I know way too many people that are in rank 50 and below law schools, some even unranked law schools, that are doing pretty well in their careers and are completely satisfied. So I'm not one of those people that think that if you don't get into a top 30 law school, you should just give up. Well, the approach changes a little bit because if you definitely know you want to go to law school and you want to go to a great regional school, I would consider taking literally the easiest major you can take. And this may sound counterintuitive to my previous point, but hear me out. With regional law schools, it's more of a numbers game. Of course, your actual merits and credentials matter, but at the end of the day, there's a class profile that school is trying to build, and you are a piece to fit inside of it. For example, if you have a law school with an incoming class profile for 1Ls with too high of a GPA and too low of an LSAT, well then you're going to expect the next few people that do get accepted to have higher LSATs and lower GPAs so that it balances things out. And this will differ school to school as each law school has their own criteria that they want to meet. For these regional schools, they really want to boost themselves up in the ranking, and one way to do that is to bolster their GPA and LSAT score. So in these cases, a 3.7, 3.8, 4.0, they're very attractive. And what better way to get to those goals other than taking an easy major? Just a few majors off the top of my head: political science, psychology, history, English, majors like that are quote-unquote easier majors. Now obviously every school is different. Sometimes those majors may be actually pretty hard at your school. However, generally speaking, from my experience and from the people that I've spoken to, those are the easier majors, and they're typically shorter majors too, credit-wise. But hey, if you can take a STEM degree and actually get through it and get a good GPA, obviously that looks way better on your resume. It's just a harder major and much more impressive. So if you can get through it, by all means, do you, bro. But I don't recommend taking those majors if you don't think you're gonna keep up with it and keep your GPA up. Because like I've said, those regional schools really do want to keep their numbers up, and the GPA is a big part of that. So if you go to a regional school with a 4.0 in political science and a 3.2 or a 3.0 in a science degree, straight up they're gonna take that 4.0, like easily, no contest. With all things being equal, LSAT same, SOF same, everything same, they're taking that 4.0. So really think about taking those easier majors if you're 100% sure that you want to go to law school. You don't want to go to a fancy Ivy League or anything like that. You just want a good school and a great scholarship. So to sum it up, if you have realistic Ivy League aspirations, and when I say realistic, really think about it. Some people be having like a 2.5 GPA thinking they're going to Stanford, and that's not happening, bro. Unless you get like a 175 on the LSAT, even then it's probably not going to happen, maybe a 180. So if you have realistic Ivy League aspirations, well then think about a more difficult major, something that will stand out, because there are a lot of political science majors. You definitely will not stand out, that's kind of expected. So think about taking one of those harder majors. But if you just want to go to a good law school, get a great scholarship, definitely think about taking an easy major, because you want that safety net of having a great GPA and then just go kill the LSAT. And if you don't kill the LSAT, you have that great GPA to sit back on. So that sums it up. I know I didn't even tell you what to major in, but that's because you get the gist of it. Major in what aligns with your goals and what you realistically think you can accomplish. This whole process starts with realistically what you can accomplish. In the description below, you'll find some information about the most popular law school majors, along with the harder majors and the easier majors. I put quotes because it's really subjective and every school is different, but just my opinion. But anyways, that wraps things up. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And of course, I'll always be posting real helpful law school content, so if you enjoy that, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.